Hello, welcome to ROE Tech. In this session, we'll discuss about the volume migration from one aggregate to another aggregate in Netapp cluster mode. So the situation is like there are a couple of aggregates in the Netapp cluster. So out of couple of clusters, out of couple of aggregates, there is one aggregate which is reached 99%. So if you keep on putting more files or folders or data into that aggregate, into that learn into that volume which is associated with that aggregate, after a couple of days or a couple of weeks the aggregate may goes offline. So if the aggregate goes offline, definitely the volume will go offline, as well as the loans, associated loans will be go offline. So there will be a business impact. So to overcome the difficulties, we can migrate one of the volume or couple of the volumes from the affected aggregate to the aggregate another aggregate which is very less capacity utilization. So here, if you want to see what is the status of the aggregate, how many aggregates are there in the Netapp cluster, you can execute the command storage aggregate space show hyphen aggregate space star. It will show you all the aggregate information. Or you can execute the command aggregate storage aggregate show. If you execute this command, it will show you all the information of the aggregate. Now, one of the aggregate which is highlighted in the red color, it is reached 99% utilization, and it is a very it is very dangerous. It is a warning message that after putting after if you put some of the data, if you want to store some of the data, like if 100 GB of data if you put in this associated loans or volumes, the aggregate reaches 100%, and there is a chance of going offline of this aggregate, and it will affect in the production. So to overcome these difficulties, what I did is I had a plan. I made a plan for this and have identified the volume which is associated with this aggregate and have migrated to the above one which is highlighted in the green in color. This aggregate having less utilization, like it is 69% is used, remaining 14.2 TB is there. So I have identified the affected aggregate as well as the less capacity utilized aggregate. Now the aggregate identification is done. Now I have to expand. I have to identify how many volumes are associated with this aggregate aggr1 plus 02. So for that, I have to execute the command vserver show hyphen vserver name space star. Means it will show you all the vserver informations and associated volume information. So by that we can identify how many volumes are associated with that aggregate, and apart from that you can execute the command vol show hyphen vserver1 hyphen volume star. So I have identified the vserver1 and I have to execute the command which volume is associated with this vserver1. So by executing this command vol show hyphen vserver1 hyphen volume star. So by this command output we can identify the volume as well. The volume name is vol1. So here I have identified the aggregate, I have identified the vserver or and the volume name. So vol show hyphen vserver1 hyphen volume vol1. If you execute this command, it will show you the complete information of the volume, means how much capacity is utilized of this volume, what is space left over this volume, all the detailed information, and it is sitting in which aggregate all this information can be identified. So to see the associated loan in this volume vol1, you can execute this command learn mapping show hyphen vserver1 hyphen volume vol1 hyphen fields space reporting hyphen nodes. So if you execute this command, you can get the complete information about the learn information, means to whom it is mapped, in which host, and the complete path of the learn. Learn show hyphen vserver1 hyphen path and complete path name of the learn. If you execute this command, it will show you the complete information in which I group, what is the I group name, and which host it is mapped. All this information we can know. Here we have identified which volume we need to migrate and what is the source aggregate name, what is the destination aggregate name. Here the naming convention, I think it is a wrong one. I have this is my destination aggregate name. I have wrong written here. Okay, this is the destination aggregate. This is the source one, which is the affected one, and this is the destination, which is very good condition, healthy aggregate. I have to migrate the volume vol1 to this aggregate. This is the destination aggregate, and this is the details of the learn path. So the syntax of the volume migration command is vol then space move space start hyphen vserver name hyphen volume name and hyphen destination hyphen aggregate and the destination aggregate name. The same way in the production, I have identified everything. I have all the information. So I have to execute the proper command like vol space move start hyphen vserver space vserver1 hyphen volume vol name vol1 is my volume name hyphen destination aggr aggregate aggr0 class 0 hyphen underscore 02. This is my aggregate destination aggregate. If you execute this command, it will start the migration of vol1, and one job will be created with a job id. Here the job id 4041. So this way we can, by executing this command, it will be migrate the volume. And to see the status of the migration of the volume, you can execute the command volume move show hyphen vserver1 hyphen volume1. If you execute this command, we can see the periodical status, the progressive status of the volume migration. So the same command volume space move show hyphen vserver1 hyphen volume vol1. If you execute this command, it will give you the complete information. It has been started, like what is the vserver name, what is the volume name, actual completion time, bytes remaining 2.77 TB is remaining, and this is the destination aggregate. Detail status transferring data is 2.80 GB of data has been transferred from the source aggregate to destination address, destination aggregate, and this is the estimated time. It will take this much of time. And managing node, what is the managing node? This is the managing node, and this phase is called the replicating phase, and this is the estimated duration, and replication throughput is 282.4 Mbps. So the complete information you came to know by executing this command, the status of the volume migration. So once it will reach the 100%, and it will be show you the error if anything goes wrong, or if it is not meeting the completely conditions, it will throw the error. Meanwhile, if it is successful, it will show you the 100%. Okay, I have taken a lot of output in my production cluster, and at last it is reached into the 100%. It is reached 100% of migration. So here the migration is done. If it is, see the status is percentage completion is 100%. Source volume encrypted false. All the conditions are there. All the parameters, the features are also migrated. So we have successfully migrated the volume from one aggregate to another aggregate. So after migration, you can see the status of the aggregate by executing the command storage space aggregate show space show. If you execute this command, you can see the status of the aggregate. Now see the status. This aggregate is like 89 percentage, and this aggregate is 9.997 TB and 78 percentage. So see the status. Now all looks good. At least we can balance the aggregate by migrating the volume from one aggregate to another aggregate. And after that, you can show the lawn show command to see whether that lawn is good state, it is mapped or not, it is online or not. We can see the status. So this way you can migrate the volume from one aggregate to another aggregate in the cluster mode Netapp storage system. It is applicable for 8.x and 9.x. This is all about volume migration. Thank you. Thank you so much.